Hello everybody. Today it will be our 35th lecture series as I was continuing with the lecture of Employees Provident Fund. Yesterday on that is the 34th lecture series, we have discussed about the Employees Provident Fund organization. Because without understanding the organization, it is very difficult to understand the Employee Provident Fund itself. And why it is called Employee Provident Fund and why it is not called Employee Provident Fund. I used to ask my teachers in my law school or in my BCom or income, say why it is called Employees Provident Fund, why it is not called Employees Provident Fund. Actually, why? Because I have mentioned in my 34th lecture series, that is the part 1 yesterday, that it is a social security measure which is being promoted by Government of India through EPFO, that is Employee Provident Fund Organization. And the social security is what? It's a contribution by the employee as well as the employer, and there is also some amount of contribution also comes from the government, which actually being disbursed at the time of retirement or the pension. Now EPFO has the role of being the enforcement agency to oversee, that is the Employees Provident Fund is being the role of an enforcement agency to oversee the implementation of the EPF and MP Act, that is Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provision Act 1952. We have ended our lecture series yesterday by mentioning that under the Act there are actually 3 schemes which are operational. Number 1 is Employees Provident Fund Scheme 1952, Employee Deposit Linked Insurance Scheme 1976, and Employee Pension Scheme 1995. So, by looking into these 3 schemes in a nutshell, you will be able to understand that the employee is not only given the coverage for the Employee Provident Fund, but also the Deposit Linked Insurance Scheme and Pension Scheme. It means any kind of pension will be disbursed to the employee will be covered under this scheme act, as well as sorry if there is any kind of disability or death of the employee, then the Deposit Linked Insurance Scheme will come into the picture. Now obviously this act, which is the Employee Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provident Provision Act, and it is a service provider for the covered beneficiary throughout the country, and the act is administered by the Central Board of Trustees, that is the informally the CBT, which consists of chairman and the vice chairman, 5 central government representative, 15 state government representative, 10 employee representative, 10 employers representative with central PF commissioner and the member secretary to the board. Now the CBT or executive committee is chosen from the CPT members, that there is a Central Board of Trustee members, to assist the central board in discharge of its functions relating to the administrative matter. The officials of the organizations of the cadre of commissioners are appointed by the central board under section 5D of the efficient administration of the act and the schemes. So there are a group of officers, administrative officers, who actually work under the supervision and the administration of the central board. Under section 5D they are appointed in order to carry out the administrative task which has been enshrined in the act. Now to this end, the commissioners of the organization are vested with the vast powers under the statute, conferring quasi-judicial authority for the assessment of the financial liability of the employer, search and seizure of the records, the levy of damages, attachment, as well as the auction of a default party, prosecution and arrest of detention of defaulters in the civil prison. So there is also a kind of a penalty for the employers if they don't comply with the provisions, like assessment of the financial liability of the employer. They can search and seizure the employer's property, they can attach the property, and it can act as the auction for the defaulter's property. Prosecution can take place and arrest and the detention of the defaulters in the civil prison. Now alternatively, the organization is divided into zones that are headed by additional Central Provident Fund Commissioner, and each zone has 4 more regional offices which are headed by either Regional Provident Fund Commissioners or Regional Provident Fund Commissioner 1 or 2. and they are actually to assist them, there are Assistant Provident Fund Commissioner looking after the enforcement of the act and the scheme. Now, many district offices have an APFC. It is called Assistant Provident Fund Commissioner Office to implement the scheme and attend to the grievances. At present, there are EPFO has got 20 general offices, 149 regional offices, 113 district office, 5 special state offices, and 4 service centers across India. So, for example, I am talking about in our city, that is where I am residing, that is Kolkata. Kolkata has a zonal office, as well as it has got a regional office also. There are multiple regional offices across West Bengal, 2 or 3 maybe regional offices. One we can find in Salt Lake, Korunawi, where it is a regional office, and there are many district offices across the state which is spread. Like I've already mentioned, there are 113 district offices. The total manpower of the EPFO is at present more than 20,000, including at all levels. The 1031 commission, 1031 commissioners are recruited directly and competitively to the Union Public Service Commission, to the EO and the AO. Enforcement officer or the accounts officers are also recruited directly by the Union Public Service Commission, in addition to the promotion of staff, cadre of the Social Security assistants. Now, I've already mentioned that there is an enforcement officer, there is an accounts officer, there is an accounts officer group, section group B, the Regional Provident Fund Commissioner, Deputy Director, Regional Provident Fund Commissioner, Director rank, Assistant Provident Fund Commissioner, Assistant Director rank, Regional Provident Fund RPFC, Additional Central Provident Fund Commissioner, Additional Central Fund Commissioner or the Financial Advisor, and the Central Provident Fund Commissioner. Another very important area that the Provident Fund organization has given to us, or all the subscribers, all the employees, is the concept of universal account number. It is called UAN. Now, what is a UAN? UAN is a 12-digit allotted number to the employees who contribute to the EPF, and UAN is generated for each PF member by the EPFO. It is being generated solely by the EPFO. Nobody can generate this UAN number, and it is done entirely digitally and online after giving the KYC from your end. For example, if I am going to enroll my name in the UAN, then obviously at the end of the day, what happens is that my employer also endorse the same thing. Because if the employer does not endorse that the X and Y is an employee of the organization, then the UAN number cannot be allotted to him. And the UAN acts as an umbrella for the multiple member IDs allotted to each individual by different establishments. I told you earlier that UAN is actually a kind of a it's an umbrella or a single point where different IDs which have been given by different establishments. If you work from X employee to Y employee to Z employee to A employer. So if he keeps on changing the employer, then the UAN number will remain the same. But the ID of the respective employer may be different. But for identification of the particular PF member or subscriber, UAN number will be the same which is being allotted by the EPF. Now, it does not change between the jobs. The idea is to link the multiple member identification number or allotted to a single member under a single UAN. Now, when one UAN has been allotted to a subscriber or a PF member, then all the details are taken from him. For example, the KYC, like for your Aadhaar card, your PAN card, your voter card, maybe your citizenship proof card, your address proof. And apart from that, very important thing, because it is related to your pension, you need to declare your nominee also. So this will help the member to view the details of the member identification number, and it is being also given in the form of a login ID and a password. Now, the major benefit of the UAN is the convenience when tagging the multiple member ID of the single employee. So if you keep on changing your employer, that the employer ID will tag with the single UAN number. And the UAN helps the transfer and the withdrawal to the PF claims online or offline. So along with these services like the online passbook, SMS services, for example, if any contribution has been made monthly, then the SMS will come directly to you when you register the mobile number, or in the online passbook is also available in the website of the EPFO. On each deposit, an online KYC update. For example, if you are changing your address then you have to, you can also update your KYC address proof in your in the portal which is being given, allotted by the EPFO, that is Employee Provident Fund Organization, which is provided based on the EUN, which enables the transfer of balance from one EPF to another. Now, a new portal, that is a EUN portal, allow the members to check the EPF balances and the EUN status, download a EUN EPF passbook to view the Provident Fund claim. So we can download the EUN EPF passbook, that how much contribution has been made in my account from my side, that is the employee side, and the employer side, and what is the interest which is being provided by the Provident Fund Organization. Members who are unable to withdraw the PF for any reason can withdraw without the consent of the employer. They can submit Form 19 of the EPF, that is the Employees Provident Fund, and the Form 10C of the EPS, the Employees Pension Scheme, to the EPFO office in which the EPF account is maintained. A UN number provided by the EPFO is mainly actually used to track the PF balance and the PF claim status. Okay, so we will also discuss about this the concept of the pension fund and the death relief fund in our next lecture series. But as we all know that tomorrow is 8th March, and tomorrow is a special day for all of us, because tomorrow is the International Women's Day. So tomorrow we will have a special lecture and a special session, my 36th lecture series, but on a special session will be on the 8th of March, International Women's Day. We will highlight or discuss that why International Women's Day is being celebrated, what is the background of this International Women's Day, what is the backdrop of it. We will study about that. Thank you very much for joining.